A lot of people think that I'm a little bit crazy. Why? Well, because I have half of my funds invested into one stock only. And that stock is Tesla. And here is why I did that. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Melbourne, Australia. Fantastic to have you here on the channel today. Welcome to all the new subscribers. There's been about 15,000 new subscribers come onto the channel over the last 2 weeks. Great to have you. Make sure that you check out some of the 660 plus videos that we've created over the last 7 months. Those videos will give you a better idea of what's really going on globally in the electric car industry, in the automotive industry, in the battery industry, in those industries that are going to change the world enormously over the next decade. So one of the key reasons that I chose to invest 50% of my portfolio into one stock, that stock being Tesla, is because they spend very little, basically no money on marketing, but a whole lot of money on R&D. How much? Well, a lot more than their competitors. Now, Aaron Ali from Visual Capitalist has actually done some research on comparing Tesla's spending on R&D and marketing per car to that of other automakers. And the difference is staggering. Now, it's often said that word of mouth is the best form of advertising. And you know what? I agree. Some of my friends who have businesses don't do any marketing at all. They have customers basically chasing them. Now, in the case of Tesla and their rapid ascent to the top of the global automotive business, this is also true. As far as I can tell, it is the only car company in history that has never spent money on marketing. After all, the electric vehicle company somehow manages to spend $0 on advertising year after year after year and still have enormous delays on deliveries because of the incredible numbers of pre-orders they have. I mean, look at the Cybertruck, 1.3 million pre-orders. Look at the Tesla Model 3. What do they have? 350,000 pre-orders. Same situation now. You want to buy a Tesla? Well, in America, you got to wait, 6 months or more. And that is in spite of the fact that Teslas don't actually qualify for the federal tax incentive rebate, $7,500 US. So they have a $7,500 US handicap, and yet they still have more people ordering them than any other car brand, than any other electric car brand. Now, despite the fact that marketing is typically a significant expense line item for most other auto manufacturers, Tesla is getting by just fine without it. Now, on the flip side, Tesla is spending an average of $3,000 US per car sold on research and development, R&D, which is often triple the amount of other traditional legacy automakers. So Tesla spends around about $3,000 US on R&D per vehicle. They spend $0 on ads per vehicle, and they spend $0 on R&D per dollar of advertising. Ford, on the other hand, spends $1,186 US per vehicle on R&D. So just over 1/3 of what Tesla spends. They spend $470 US on ads per car sale, and they spend therefore $2.53 on R&D per dollar of advertising. Toyota spends $1,063 US on R&D per vehicle. So 1/3 of Tesla. They spend $454 US per sale on marketing, and they spend $2.34 on R&D per dollar of advertising. General Motors spends $878 US on R&D per car sold. So that's about 35% of what Tesla is spending on R&D per vehicle. Their ad spend per car sold is $400 US, and their R&D per dollar of advertising is $2.22. Chrysler spends $784 US on R&D per car sold, and ad spend per car sold is $664 US, so more than any of those other automakers I just mentioned. So on this per vehicle basis, Tesla's $2,984 US in R&D spend per car is far greater than that of every other car manufacturer currently in existence. It's even higher than the collective amount going into R&D per car from 3 of the other automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler combined. That is insane. When it comes to advertising, average spend among traditional automakers is $495 per vehicle. And while Tesla technically spends nothing on advertising, the company is a marketing machine that is rated as the world's fastest growing brand. And the crazy thing is, Tesla often dominates press mentions and social media chatter. Now let's talk about capital allocation, R&D, and advertising. These things matter. The balance of expenditures between R&D and advertising is part of capital allocation, which is a decision that every business needs to make. Generally speaking, more R&D can and does improve and advance the quality of either your goods or your service relative to your competitors. If executed correctly, it has the potential to lead to greater pricing power that will reflect in the margins. And this is 100% the case with Tesla, as I often harp on about. Now, this R&D and expenditure is one of the key reasons why Tesla's automotive gross margins are around about 30% currently, whereas their competitors are all between 8 to 10%. That's the automotive industry average. Obviously, this comes in things like gigacasting, turning 70 parts into one part. The interesting thing is right now, Legacy Auto is not moving to use gigacasts. Why? Who knows? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But there is 6 new Chinese automakers, most of whom are electric car manufacturers, who have all decided that gigacasts are a great idea, and they have orders for similar machines from the same company that Tesla bought theirs from. Now, getting back to advertising. In contrast, advertising can spread awareness and promote the business, but it's a tricky balance that isn't always easy to get right. Sometimes advertising can just be wasted. Now, while capital allocation is vital, one factor that differentiates Tesla from the rest is Elon Musk himself. With over 60 million followers on Twitter, his insane popularity has no doubt aided in Tesla's brand recognition, where they've arguably become synonymous with the electric vehicle revolution. It's sort of in a similar way to the iPhone became synonymous with smartphones. Now, for Americans, 85% still use an automobile as their primary method of transportation to get to work. As a result, automobiles will undergo a serious shakeup as the world continues in its path towards a greener future. By 2030, at least 95% of all vehicles sold worldwide will be electric, and that's based on current trends. In fact, it could happen even faster than that if you look at how quickly this year the world is transitioning to electric cars. So with increasing investments made in the electric vehicle space, poised to be worth well over $1 trillion market by 2028, how will R&D and advertising budgets of tomorrow look for major automobile companies? And if they have a handicap of $500 or more US dollars per car spent to start with, because they have to spend that money on marketing and Tesla doesn't, and if they have a further handicap in terms of manufacturing process, obviously we know that it takes Tesla at Gigafactory Berlin 10 hours to build an electric car. This is coming from the CEO of Volkswagen, by the way. And it takes Volkswagen more than 30 hours. Then that seems to be a very difficult position for Legacy Auto to compete going forward. So here is one. In fact, here I believe is 2 of the key reasons: marketing spend and R&D spend that I've chosen to invest in Tesla. And in fact, I still think that Tesla is a stock worth buying, even though it is at all-time crazy highs. And many people think it's overvalued and overpriced. I totally understand where they're coming from. But I think if you actually look at where they're going to be in 2030, based on my projections, I'll put a link in the description below to the video I made about those projections, and to the other vehicle manufacturers' projections of where they will be in 2030 as well. And you can see why Tesla is valued where it's at. Thanks for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you again on the next one. Bye-bye.